Everything about Solana is fake. The transactions per second, the volume, the users, everything fake. But here's the thing, I'm not here to bore you with an hour of data proving this. I've already done multiple videos providing all the data that you could need, and you can check them out below in the description. What you need to understand is why this matters and how it's going to impact Solana in the future. Because if you're invested in Solana or even just watching from the sidelines, what's coming could completely change how you view this so-called Ethereum killer. So in this video, I'll break down the 2 reasons why Solana is headed for trouble. And trust me, it's not just speculation. By the end of this, you'll see why the cracks in Solana's foundation are impossible to ignore. Let's start with Solana's big selling point, its high transactions per second, or TPS. Solana claims to process thousands of transactions every second, far outpacing Ethereum, Bitcoin, and most other blockchains. But there's a problem. These numbers are completely meaningless. Why? Because the vast majority of these transactions are fake. They're generated by bots, spam, and internal processes like validator communication, not real users and not real adoption. And this isn't some wild conspiracy theory. More and more voices in the industry are pointing out the blatant manipulation happening on Solana. Here's an example. In 2024, a report revealed that over 70% of Solana's on-chain activity came from a single app that was spamming transactions to inflate the numbers. That's not adoption, that's manipulation, and it matters because Solana's entire narrative is built on being the fastest, most scalable blockchain. But if that speed and scale are based on fake metrics, it's like building on a house of sand. Now let's talk about the first major issue holding Solana back, MEV, or maximum extractable value. If you've never heard of MEV, it's a fancy term basically for something very simple, theft. Here's how it works. When you send a transaction on a blockchain, it enters a queue. But instead of processing transactions fairly, validators can reorder them to their advantage. So they can front run your transaction or sandwich it or use other tricks to extract value from you. It's kind of like cutting in line at a store, but worse because they're profiting off of it. You, the users. And Solana, it's one of the worst offenders when it comes to MEV. The blockchain is designed in a way that makes it incredibly easy for validators to exploit the users, which is you. In fact, MEV isn't just a side effect of Solana, it's a key part of how the chain operates. That's not sustainable. It erodes trust, it drives away real users, and it creates an ecosystem where only the insiders win. But as more people become aware of what's happening, this is going to be a massive issue for Solana's long-term growth. The second issue is even bigger. Solana is already at or nearing capacity, and this is with almost no real adoption. Let me explain. Right now, Solana processes around 4,000 to 5,000 transactions per second. That's impressive on paper, but remember, most of these transactions are bot spam or transaction other chains don't count. Even so, the network is already struggling with congestion and performance issues whenever there's a spike in activity. So what happens when real adoption finally arrives? What happens when Solana has to handle tens of thousands or even millions of real transactions per second? The short answer is it can't. The chain isn't designed to handle that kind of demand. And yes, I know Solana fanboys will say, but what about FireDancer upgrade? FireDancer is a new validator client being developed to improve Solana's performance. But here's the thing, FireDancer is still 6 to 12 months away, if not longer. And even if it's successful, it won't solve the fundamental issues with Solana's architecture. Meanwhile, demand for blockchain space is only going to grow, especially as AI agents start driving more and more activity on chain. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of TPS. Solana isn't ready for that, and by the time it is, it might already be too late. So why does this all matter? Why should you care if Solana is faking its numbers, relying on MEV, and struggling with capacity issues? Because it's not just about Solana, it's about trust in the entire blockchain ecosystem. When projects like Solana manipulate data and cut corners, it hurts everyone, you and me both. It gives ammunition to critics who say crypto is a scam, and it makes it harder for legitimate projects to gain traction. But here's the good news. More and more people are starting to see through the lies. Influencers, analysts, and developers are exposing the manipulation happening on Solana. Perfect example is this recent video from Maher, who has over 1 million subscribers. Listen to what he has to say in this short clip.
A plan was devised to make a blockchain with a few trade-offs. Build a blockchain that focuses only on the measurable success metrics. What do people care about? Let's optimize for that thing. And then we'll gain a bunch of popularity, and by the time other people are able to catch up, we'll be so big and have so much money that we'll be able to fix everything and fix this sinking ship before it totally capsizes. What I mean exactly here is there was an incentive to make a blockchain that looked like it was cranking hundreds of transactions per second across millions of wallets, trading hundreds of times per day, because if they built that, then the world would simply be able to point to it and go, That's it. That's the chain that has the best metrics that everyone cares about. They know there's a potential $1 trillion reward if they can pump all the numbers long enough to just give them enough time to fix everything that's wrong or everything that's just a flat out lie. So it's pretty clear why they do it. And maybe eventually they figure it out and they go completely legit and they go transparent with all their numbers, but that's not a reality I'm going to count on right now.
I don't think I could have said it any better, and I'll link the full video down in the description. But as the truth comes out, the market will adjust. Projects built on hype and deception can only last so long. At the end of the day, the data doesn't lie. Solana's fake numbers, their MEV reliance, and capacity issues aren't just minor problems. They're existential threats. And if you're investing in Solana, you deserve to know the truth. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just take my word for it. Do your own research. Look into the numbers, the reports, the issues I've raised here. Check out the videos that I'll link below. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I'll be covering the story as it continues to develop. Thanks for watching, and let's keep exposing the truth.